So hello folks, it's been a little while. So I'm making a video for you guys today of how to make my mixed veggie stew. This is my take, or my twist rather, on legume, Haitian legume, but this is a little different. They use ingredients, of course, that we don't use, tomato paste, blah, 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 you know, some different things. But this is my take on a mixed veggie stew, which is very delicious, completely and totally alkaline and plant-based, using all of Dr. Sebi's approved ingredients. So over here in this bowl, I have some fresh baby arugula. I have some turnip greens here, and I have avocado oil. I have some chopped red onion. I have Roma tomato, some green zucchini, and some kale. My seasonings are onion powder. I have some clove. I have some thyme. I have some ashio, which I grind up myself, hence the bottle. And I have some savory, and of course some sea salt. So I'm gonna get started. And you know, prior to starting the video, I made some amaranth grain. This is amaranth grain. Amaranth grain is actually a seed of the amaranth greens, which like in other places like Jamaica and the islands, they, you know, some places they call it kalalu, but it's AKA amaranth greens. So let me show you, and this is just very simple. You would cook this just like you would cook, sort of like you would cook like a big pot of grits if you were making it, but you don't need the constant stirring. After the initial, after you dump the amaranth greens into the water, you can stir, stir, stir. You can salt, add a little oil, and then you cover, put it on low. In about 25 minutes, it's completely done. So this is my pot of my amaranth greens, and let me just show you what that looks like. So my bag is almost done, but you can find it at different supermarkets or health food stores. I'm blessed that I find it at my local market. So this is amaranth grain, made by Bob's Red Mill, but you can get it in bulk in some stores, like if you go to a farmer's market and stuff like that. And it is a traditional Mexican grain. It's very good. I make patties with it. I blend it up. Look, I have some blended up actually right here. And I'll show you guys in another post that I'll do. So this is my amaranth flour that I ground up to make my pancakes earlier this morning. So you can always do that. You can blend up the amaranth and turn it into flour. I add it with my spelt, and I also add it with my chickpea flour, and I make awesome desserts and breakfasts and all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna start out by dumping both the tomato and the onion. So my avocado oil is already hot. Hope everybody is doing well on this beautiful Friday. So I'm just gonna saute my onions and my tomatoes until they're very, very soft. Like they're starting to get really soft, until they're starting to get really soft. And you're probably wondering, if you're new to my videos and to my channel, why is she using an Asian wok for her legume or for her mixed green stew? Like, what is she doing? She's not Asian. Anybody who's watched my videos knows that this is one of my most prized possessions. I cook so many of my dishes in here. This wok is absolutely amazing. It is like, just, I love it. This is my prized possession. I will probably pass it down in my will. I use it because it's absolutely wonderful. Who says you can't use a wok to make foods from other places? A wok is not just for stir fry. It's not just for, there's so many things I can do with my wok. So sorry for the wobbly wok. Real life in my videos. Nothing pretentious over here. All right. So they're starting to get nice and soft, and I'm just backing up because I don't want my phone to overheat. And yes, for now, I make my videos with one hand until I get my my new tripod in the mail. So I've got that going. And again, if you're just joining me, some of the ingredients that I have: some kale, I have green zucchini. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have a habanero right here that I just I sliced the bottom, if you can see that, because I really want, I like spicy food, so I really like the heat to come out. And I also have some turnip greens here and some baby arugula. I also have just some spring water in here because, of course, we're going to use water, in the mixed veggie stew. And, of course, I have avocado oil. I also have some, some grapeseed oil back there. Some of my spices: thyme, ashio, which I blend up myself, savory, cloves, some onion powder, and, of course, sea salt. So this is getting nice and soft. And what I'm going to start to do now is I'm going to start to put the ashio. Ashio is a wonderful, wonderful seasoning made of ground annatto seeds. So it's annatto seeds, but once it's ground up, it's called ashio. And I wish I had an empty package to show you, but if you go to a store that has lots of Mexicans, or you go to a Mexican neighborhood, you will be able to find ashio because they use it a lot in their food. And it's one of the things that gives my legume a beautiful color. But you must cook ashio in order to, you have to cook it almost like you have to cook your curry so it doesn't have a bitter flavor if you eat with curry. And ashio, as an alkaline vegan, I don't use curry spices. What I use is ashio to make my curry, and it is such an amazing substitute. I'm just going to add just a little bit more grapeseed oil because it's starting to dry up on the bottom there. So you have to cook your ashio. So right now I'm just adding it so the heat, and I'm going to add more, of course, but I just want the heat to really cook up this ashio. Yum. You should smell how amazing it smells. And it's just the onions and the tomatoes and the ashio so far. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. Use a lot of ashio. And you just want to let it sit and cook. You want the seasoning itself to cook. So you see how soft my onions and tomatoes are getting? They're getting so soft. So I'm just going to let that sit for a moment. So what have you guys been up to with this Super Bowl about to happen? Are you guys having Super Bowl parties? Are you guys having get-togethers? I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be cooking, and I'm going to be doing my favorite thing, which is selling food. Yes. So if you're in the ATL area, I'm going to be posting food, posting my menu rather soon of what I'll be selling. Before the game and everything like that, during the game. So if you guys are in the ATL area and you're looking for some great vegan food, hit me up and I am at your service. So that menu will be going up on my social media platforms very soon. So I'm just really sauteing the ashio, and you really want it to cook. I have my fire on like 6. So I'm just really cooking the ashio, and it smells absolutely amazing. People always ask, how do you get your sauce so red? I always tell them 2 things. Now, there is a tomato paste that is made of Roma tomatoes that I sometimes find. Sometimes I find it, sometimes I don't. So when I do find it, I do add it to the ashio that gives it this beautiful color. But I really just like to use lots of tomatoes and ashio to generate this beautiful color. I really do. I really try to stay away from processed foods. But, you know, if you're out there and you can find some, like, you know, some tomato paste. As an alkaline vegan, I only eat Roma tomatoes, plum tomatoes, same thing. So we don't use like products like tomato paste. But like I said, I have found a company that makes their tomato paste 100% tomato paste, no sulfites or anything like that. And it's made with Roma tomatoes. So if you're lucky and you can find a product like that, beautiful. But I prefer doing it this old school way. Very yummy, absolutely gourmet and delicious. So you see the gorgeous color this has, and you see how soft and amazing this is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the habanero to the mix. And I'm just going to let the habanero start to heat up so the essence can start to come out. And sometimes what I like to do is dump the vegetables kind of on top and make a pile so that it can kind of like cover the habanero and start to like steam and cook it. And trying to cover this with one hand. So yep, see how I did that? So I just like cover the habanero, cover it up and let it cook. So I let that really heat up, really cook, and I'm just going to give it a push before I add the water to add the other vegetables. So again, if you're just joining me in this pot over here, I have a grain called amaranth, known very well in Mexico. And you stir it and cook it a lot like grits. The only difference is after you add it to your boiling water, and it's 3 cups of water to 1 cup of amaranth. And then you can season the water however you want. You can fry some onions before you add the water. But today, because I'm making such a wonderful stew to pair it with, I don't want my amaranth to overpower everything. So the only thing I put in my amaranth was a little bit of ashio, onion powder, and sea salt and grapeseed oil. So that is what I use to cook my amaranth. And as you can see, it kind of resembles grits. And let me go back here and see what this is doing. Okay, so that's been sitting in there for a little bit, and I'm just going to give the habanero a little push. You see, just to get that little hotness out there. So I'm just going to give it a little push. I don't want to totally crush it, but I'm giving it a little push. So now I'm just going to, now that the onions and the tomatoes are very soft, I'm just going to add some of this spring water. Okay. So I just added my spring water. And the first green that I'm going to add, the first for the mixed green stew is, and when I say mixed green, it's just like mixed green, not like greens. It's just like mixed green things. So I'm going to add these green zucchinis. Backing up, don't want my phone to overheat. I always have this issue where my phone overheats. Until I get my new tripod, that is. All right, so I have my zucchini in there, and I'm just gonna let my zucchini sit for a little bit. And for those of you who are just joining me, I showed everyone the amaranth, so let me just show you again. Like I said, I buy my amaranth. I'm blessed to have, you know, a local supermarket that has it all the time, and this is from Bob's Red Mill, but I've also seen it in bulk at like natural food stores and stuff like that. And like I said, some local markets, if you go to the Bob's Red Mill section, are now selling it. You know, health food, a lot of health food, you don't have to go to the health food store anymore to buy. They're starting to sell a lot of these products at regular markets. So, like I said, I'm lucky enough that I'm able to, you know, get this amaranth grain at my local supermarket. At my you know, my Kroger's is where I get it. So this is, you see, as you can see, it's a very, here, let me put some in my hand. It's a very, very tiny grain. See how tiny and fine that is? It's a very fine grain. So that's over there doing its thing. I might increase the fire just a little bit, help it along. So I just did that. So sidebar, I really hope the Rams kill the Patriots. Yes, I said it. I'm from Philly. I'm a Philadelphia fan. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You right. I bleed green. You right. Team Eagles. So I really hope the Rams like completely demolish the Patriots that I don't like at all. Yes, I said it. So I've got my zucchini in here and it's cooking. So you see the beautiful color that achiote gives the dish? Gives it such a beautiful color. So as that's starting to cook, now I'm just going to add a little bit of sea salt and a couple of the other seasonings. So I added a little bit of sea salt. And I'm going to add some thyme. Now thyme, if you have it fresh, you typically want to add it towards the end of the dish. But if you have dry thyme, you want to use the dry thyme sort of like in the middle of the dish and not towards the end of the dish. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just adding my thyme. Real life happening in the background, guys. So I'm just, you know, I just added some thyme. And because, like, again, I said it's dry thyme, this is why I'm adding it earlier in the video than, I'm adding it earlier in the video than at the end. Fresh thyme you would add at the end of your meals. It gives it a beautiful flavor. But because it's dry thyme and I want it to hydrate, I added it just now. So far, the achiote, I added the achiote when I was sauteing the onions and the Roma / plum tomato. And I let them get really, really soft. Good amount of achiote. And then I added the spring water and my green zucchini. And now the thyme. Oh, and also the habanero right there that's split at the bottom, because I like my food to have a kick. So just make sure you get all your little seasonings down in there, whatever pot you use. Excuse me. Coughing. Oh, excuse me. Something went down the wrong way there. That's what I get for chewing on a piece of arugula in the background. I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna work it out. Oh, wow. Oh. Gonna turn this up a little more. Oh, excuse me. See, this is what I was doing. I was picking arugula and eating it. Oh, what happened to my flash? All right, I'm gonna turn my flash back on, guys. Not sure why it turned off my flash. Wow. Choke much? So it's a little dark, but I hope you guys can still see.